3:30 a.m. The pitch-black darkness over the Black Sea is suddenly torn apart by the roar of heavy machine gun fire. Burning red tracer rounds streak through the air, slamming directly into the hull of the massive oil tanker USS Liberty Horizon. 12 fast attack crafts, armed to the teeth, are besieging their prey like a pack of bloodthirsty wolves. Inside the bridge, blaring alarm sirens mix with the urgent, desperate voice of the captain calling for help. Mayday! Mayday! We are under attack. They have RPGs, requesting immediate backup from the Navy right now. A terrifying explosion shakes the entire ship, cutting the signal dead, leaving behind a chilling silence in the open sea. This is no ordinary robbery. It is a blatant act of war committed right on NATO's eastern flank. More than 250 professional mercenaries have seized control, threatening to detonate the entire strategic oil cargo immediately. At the Pentagon, satellite screens turn flashing red, awakening the dormant fury of the United States military forces. There will be no negotiations, no ransom paid, only a single cold order issued directly from the Sixth Fleet. The sea monster, destroyer USS Gravely, begins to cut through the waves, carrying a death sentence for the enemy. Today, the world will witness the bloody price one must pay for daring to touch the property of the United States. The Black Sea, a strategic body of water between continents, is considered the world's hottest geopolitical chessboard. This is where military superpowers often encounter each other. But tonight, the threat comes from the unknown darkness. The USS Liberty Horizon, a massive ship weighing hundreds of thousands of tons, moves silently, carrying millions of barrels of crude oil. The ship's radar screen suddenly displays erratically moving signals traveling at extremely high speeds. 12 fast attack craft, known as FACs, tear through the thick fog approaching from 3 different directions. They do not use navigation lights. They move in stealth mode, gliding over the waves like ghosts. The distance closes rapidly from 5 nautical miles to less than 1 mile in just a few short minutes. The American captain, a seasoned veteran, immediately recognizes this classic Wolfpack tactical formation. He shouts into the radio, ordering the activation of high-pressure water cannons and sounding the ship-wide red alert. But the enemy tonight are not amateurs. They act with the precision and discipline of a military unit. The lead boat suddenly accelerates, and a gunner stands up, shouldering an RPG-7 anti-tank grenade launcher. A trail of white smoke hisses as the warhead slams into the bridge, shattering the 5-centimeter thick tempered glass. Shrapnel and the blast force throw the duty officers aside, turning the control center into a chaotic battlefield. Immediately, 12.7mm machine gun fire from the surrounding boats begins to rain bullets down onto the main deck. The large caliber bullets pierce the thin steel hull of the living quarters, creating ear-splitting metallic sounds. The civilian crew, though in panic, strictly follows the emergency evacuation procedures they were thoroughly trained for. They leave everything behind, running for their lives along narrow corridors toward the citadel at the ship's bottom. The Citadel is an armored safe room, equipped with its own ventilation system and independent satellite communication equipment. Meanwhile, outside on the deck, titanium grappling hooks are launched, latching tightly onto the oil tanker's railings. Agile dark figures climb aboard with incredible speed, armed with modern assault rifles and body armor. Let us pause for a moment to analyze this assault group's equipment, as it reveals their true nature. These are absolutely not impoverished Somali pirates wearing sandals and holding rusty AK rifles. They wear third-generation optical night vision goggles, expensive gear that allows them to see clearly in the dark. Their weapons are fitted with suppressors and laser target designators, the hallmarks of special forces units. Military analysts call this gray zone tactics, using proxy forces to attack without revealing their true identity. Their goal is not ransom money, but to disrupt the energy supply and humiliate the United States. If they detonate this ship, an environmental disaster will engulf the entire region, causing economic paralysis. Back at the scene, the mercenaries have fully controlled the upper deck and are trying to breach the Citadel door. They attach C4 plastic explosives to the locking bolts, preparing to blow away the American crew's last line of defense. But they made a grave error in underestimating the global surveillance capabilities of the Pentagon. At Langley Air Force Base in Virginia, thousands of miles away, an intelligence officer stares at the screen. The SBIRS infrared satellite system has detected the massive heat signature from the RPG explosion on the water. The data is immediately relayed to the United States Naval Forces Central Command stationed in Bahrain. A flash traffic code, the highest priority level, is sent to every combat unit in the region. U.S. merchant vessel under armed attack. Threat level 1. Deadly force authorized for immediate intervention. At this moment, about 40 nautical miles from the distressed ship, the destroyer USS Gravely is on routine patrol. General quarters alarms ring incessantly throughout the ship's compartments, waking 300 sailors in the middle of the night. The captain steps into the Combat Information Center, where cold, blue light encompasses everything. He looks at the tactical screen, where the Liberty Horizon icon is blinking red, signaling extreme distress. Come about 180 degrees. Increase to flank speed. Prep the MH-60R helicopter. We are going hunting. 4 GE LM-2500 gas turbine engines roared, propelling the 9,000-ton warship forward at speeds exceeding 30 knots. The sharp bow tears through the dark waves, creating a long white wake like the scythe of death. Above, an MQ-9 Reaper surveillance drone has approached the area and is transmitting the first live images. Thermal imaging reveals 250 heat spots representing the body heat of the attackers scattered all over the ship. Behavioral analysis shows they are planting explosive charges on the ship's main oil discharge valve systems. This is an act of ecological nuclear blackmail. They want to turn the Black Sea into a dead zone. Time is running out. The crew in the Citadel reports the steel door is warping from explosive pressure. The USS Gravely captain orders the electronic warfare officer to activate the radio jamming system immediately. Cut their communication with land. I want them completely isolated in the middle of the open ocean. An invisible electromagnetic shield is erected, turning the mercenaries' radios into useless bricks. Panic begins to spread through the enemy ranks as they realize they have lost contact with their command. But their true nightmare is only just beginning as the sound of helicopter blades echoes from the distance. The Black Ghost has arrived, and it carries the unstoppable fury of the United States Navy. In the next part, we will witness the bloody direct confrontation as the U.S. Navy tightens the noose. From the pitch-black sky, the MH-60R Seahawk anti-submarine helicopter swoops down like a giant falcon striking its prey. Beneath the helicopter's belly hang laser-guided Hellfire missiles, ready to deliver precise and deadly destruction. The side door is wide open, where a naval sniper firmly presses a long-range rifle against his shoulder. The helicopter's long-range acoustic device system begins blasting a warning message that tears through the night. This is the United States Navy. You are surrounded. Drop your weapons and surrender immediately, or be destroyed. The warning is answered by muzzle flashes from the oil tanker deck as mercenaries frantically open fire. A rebel commander shoulders an Igla man-portable air defense missile, aiming straight at the low-flying Seahawk. The missile warning sensor on the helicopter screams, and the American pilot immediately executes a sharp, evasive maneuver. Dozens of thermal decoy flares are deployed, creating a brilliant and deadly firework display in the sky. The missile's heat seeker is deceived. It flies straight into the artificial heat cloud and explodes harmlessly mid-air. The very next second, a dry, cold sniper shot rings out from the marksman's position on the helicopter. The soldier who fired the missile collapses to the deck, instantly finished off by a large-caliber, armor-piercing bullet. At the same time, the massive and terrifying silhouette of the destroyer USS Gravely looms out of the dense fog. The ship's renowned Aegis combat system has locked its targets onto all 12 of the enemy's fast attack crafts. The SPY-1D electronic scanned array radar tracks hundreds of potential threats simultaneously with absolute precision. The main 127mm Mark 45 gun turret slowly rotates, pointing threateningly directly at the pirate group's command ship. This is an asymmetric confrontation between America's cutting-edge military technology and reckless guerrilla tactics. Realizing the risk of annihilation, the mercenaries attempt to drag captured crew members onto the deck as hostages. They want to use human shields to prevent destructive fire from the massive warship approaching them. However, the captain of the USS Gravely has received updated rules of engagement from High Command. Top priority is preventing an environmental disaster. You are authorized to neutralize all direct threats to the tanker. Beneath the dark water, special rubber boats carrying SEAL Team 6 are silently approaching the ship's flank. They use high-tech magnetic rope ladders to climb the slippery hull without making a single sound. Meanwhile, two enemy fast attack crafts suddenly break formation and charge straight toward the American destroyer. This is a suicide attack, a desperate tactic to damage the American warship in exchange for notoriety. Gunners on the USS Gravely fire a warning burst into the water, creating white columns of water blocking the path. But the fanatics do not stop. They accelerate to maximum speed, carrying hundreds of kilograms of explosives on board. The American captain narrows his eyes, issuing a cold order over the intercom. Engage with 25mm automatic cannons. The Mk-38 Bushmaster gun system instantly roars to life, spitting a firestorm at hundreds of rounds per minute. Armor-piercing rounds shred the lead boat, turning it into a massive fireball that illuminates the sky. The second boat tries to zigzag but cannot escape America's modern electro-optical targeting system. It explodes just 200 meters from the American ship, raining burning debris down onto the white foaming sea. This suicide attack has effectively removed any remaining restraint from the United States Navy forces. Now, it is no longer a Coast Guard police mission, but a truly fierce, full-scale naval battle. Analysts believe this suicide attack order was issued from a secret command center somewhere on land. The enemy wants to drag the U.S. into a prolonged conflict to weaken NATO's position in the Black Sea region. Back on the tanker, the SEAL team has reached the main deck and moves like ghosts into assault positions. They hide in the shadows, waiting for the synchronization signal from the commander to execute the decisive strike. In the sky, the roar of jet engines signals the arrival of a supporting squadron of FA-18 Super Hornets. The net has tightened, and the fate of those attacking the American ship is now counted in mere seconds. At exactly 3:45 a.m., a cold command resonates in the SEALs' earpieces. Green. Execute immediately. Simultaneously, the sharp whip of suppressed weapons tears through the silence on the wind-swept deck. 5 sentries collapse to the deck at once, blood staining the non-slip paint before they can utter a word. Alpha Team rapidly approaches the bridge door, attaching a frame charge of plastic explosives to the heavy steel hinges. A dull thud echoes. The door blasts inward, immediately followed by 2 flashbang grenades tossed inside. Blinding white light erupts, and a 170 decibel bang completely paralyzes the nervous systems of those inside. 4 dark figures equipped with night vision goggles storm in like a whirlwind, each covering a pre-assigned firing angle. Precise double-tap shots strike the chest and head, neutralizing the mercenary commander right in his seat. Targets neutralized, bridge secure. Proceeding to cut the detonator wires on the C4 charge at the control panel. Meanwhile, at the Citadel, Bravo Team has successfully rescued the crew without expending a single bullet. As the announcement Liberty Horizon is secure comes through, the captain of the USS Gravely smiles coldly. He turns to the weapons officer, nodding his signal. Clear the water. Don't let anything remain floating. The steel beast USS Gravely begins to unleash its long-suppressed fury upon the remaining enemies. The main Mark 45 Mod 4 127mm naval gun rotates, locking onto the pirate group's mothership. A deafening explosion rocked the entire ship as the 30-kilogram artillery shell hurtled forward at supersonic speed. In an instant, the enemy mothership 5 miles away is torn in half, creating a massive pillar of fire. Burning debris is thrown high into the sky, illuminating the dark sea like daylight for a brief moment. Realizing the catastrophic outcome, the remaining speedboats panic and turn to flee in different directions. But escaping the Aegis radar system is an impossible feat for any surface vessel to achieve. The Phalanx CIWS close-in weapon system, often called R2-D2, begins spinning its barrels at dizzying speed. The distinctive sound roars like a giant chainsaw, spewing 4,500 tungsten rounds per minute at the enemy. Streams of red-hot tracers sweep across the sea like the scythe of death, sawing through any boat in sight. The composite hulls of the speedboats shatter into tiny fragments, and fuel ignites fiercely, turning the water red. One stubborn boat tries to fire its last rocket but is intercepted immediately by the 25mm Bushmaster chain gun. Above, the MH-60R Seahawk helicopter hunts down those trying to swim away or hide among the wreckage. Laser-guided Hellfire missiles strike with meter-perfect precision, allowing absolutely no witnesses to survive. The order no prisoners is being executed thoroughly and ruthlessly in the most literal sense possible. After 9 minutes of fierce combat, the gunfire finally ceases, returning the ocean to its inherent tranquility. The sea surface is now a graveyard with patchy fires and ship wreckage floating everywhere. Drone cameras capture this scene of destruction and transmit it live to Washington as a trophy of war. Not a single mercenary survived. The entire fleet of 12 boats and 1 mothership has been completely wiped out. The U.S. side suffered no casualties, and the USS Liberty Horizon sustained only minor damage to the bridge structure. The battle result is a powerful slap in the face to forces plotting to use gray zone tactics. Powers observing from afar, like Russia or China, must recalculate their strategies upon seeing this brutality. The U.S. proved that even when attacked by surprise at 3 a.m., they can still deliver a destructive counterstrike. The sun begins to rise in the east, casting its first rays down on the sea that just endured a firestorm. The USS Gravely slowly approaches the tanker, the American flag on its mast flying proudly in the early breeze. This is not just a military victory, but a reaffirmation of the world order based on the power of firepower. The price for awakening the American giant is too high, and today, 250 souls have paid that price. As the first rays of dawn illuminate the water, the Black Sea reveals itself as a silent battlefield. Thick black smoke still rises from the wreckage of the mothership, now just a pile of scrap metal drifting aimlessly. The USS Liberty Horizon, though bearing the scars of battle, proudly cuts through the waves under tight escort. Beside it, the destroyer USS Gravely glides like a giant bodyguard, its gun barrel still hot, pointing toward the horizon. This 9-minute rescue operation saved not only a ship, but also the prestige of the #1 superpower. The United States has sent a steely message to any force plotting to use gray zone tactics. That is, never mistake American restraint for weakness or hesitation in action. Once the red line is crossed, Washington's response will not be harmless economic sanction papers. That response will be fire, steel, and total destruction delivered by the most modern war machines. Military analysts call this the doctrine of escalation dominance, overwhelming the adversary from the very first step. However, this brilliant victory also leaves a frightening silence for the cool heads at the Pentagon. Imagine if the attackers last night were not mercenaries, but special forces from a nuclear superpower? If the rescuing ship was not the USS Gravely alone, but encountered an enemy submarine fleet, then the Black Sea would not just be stained with the blood of 250 pirates, but could be the start of World War III. Peace, as we see it, is as fragile as a thread hanging before the gun barrel of geopolitical calculations. Only absolute deterrence and 24/7 combat readiness are the strongest shields protecting the world order. Tonight's battle has ended, but the electronic eyes in the sky remain wide open, searching for the next threat. Thank you for watching this dramatic simulation scenario on the US Military Channel. If you found this video engaging, please hit like and subscribe so you don't miss the next top-tier strategic analysis. I am the editor of US Military. See you again in the upcoming breathtaking confrontation scenarios.